Back in high school, when I began to explore my options for college, a friend told me about Azusa Pacific University. After visiting the campus, I knew this was the school for me. I enrolled as a liberal studies major. Throughout my 4 years of undergraduate studies, I debated whether or not I truly wanted to be a teacher. Still irresolute, I enrolled in the combined credential and master's program. After the first half, I still wasn't sure if teaching was exactly what I wanted to do. Wise counsel from a friend told me that usually when God calls us to do something, He calls us to finish it. I went back to finish the second half of the credential program and couldn't have been happier with my decision. Through student teaching, I was able to gain first-hand knowledge of a day in the life of a teacher. Being in the classroom every day, all day for 18 weeks, confirmed that this was in fact the career for me. At first, I did not plan to continue on and get a master's degree. But then, I heard about the digital teaching and learning program. I have always considered myself a tech-savvy person, but I knew that this program would teach me how to best incorporate technology into the classroom. I can say that I was not disappointed. My favorite course in this program was Education 514 Digital Video in the Classroom with Bill Selleck. Learning how to shoot and edit videos for practical use in the classroom actually helped land me the job I have now. During my interview, I showed the principal a few of the videos I had created for use in the classroom. It quickly gained his attention, and in the end, he hired me. Now, due to the knowledge gained in this program, I am one of the tech mentors at my school. My classroom consists of 25 third grade students, many of whom are rather shy and self-conscious. At the beginning of the school year, I implemented a common classroom procedure to randomly call on students whether they raised their hands or not. It did not take long to realize the system would not work in my classroom environment. The shy students were embarrassed to answer in front of their peers when they did not have time to prepare a response. The self-conscious students who lack confidence would sometimes be in tears over the anxiety of being randomly called upon. With the desire to create a learning environment in which all my students feel safe, I stopped randomly calling on students and relegated myself to only soliciting responses from the ones who volunteered. However, with the intention of solving the original problem, a new one was created. I had no way of tracking how often I had called on one student during the day, nor if I'd even called on a student at all. For some children, an entire day would go by without having any interaction with their teacher. Therefore, I sought to implement a strategy to keep me accountable to call on each student at least once a day. Will implementing the app Class Cards by Rick Morris ensure that each student is called upon at least once per day? First, I gathered the baseline data to show how often I called on each student daily. I found that on average, I would call on 75% of my class each day. To change this behavior, I downloaded the app Class Cards by Rick Morris onto my phone. I created a class list in the application, and I used the app to randomize the list of names. When a student's name came to the top of the list, I solicited that student for an answer. As a bonus feature, I could also grade the quality of their response. They either answered it incorrectly or correctly, or for a more open-ended response, I could rate them answering as an A, B, C, or D. At the end of each day, I emailed the scores to myself and then reset them for the following day. At the end of 4 weeks, the results show that with the use of the app Class Cards, every student was called upon at least once per day. The main reason I did not call upon students without their hands raised was to avoid embarrassing them. Many of my students are shy and do not feel comfortable with so much attention directed toward them. However, over the course of 4 weeks, I found that the more these students were called upon, the more prepared they were to answer the next time. In addition, they also appeared to become more confident over time. Therefore, I can conclude that this action research study changed not only my mentality toward my students, but my students' mentality about participating in the classroom. After reviewing such positive results, I will continue to implement this tool in my classroom. Using innovative technology and web resources, third grade students will explore the unique attributes of the planets in the solar system, as well as patterns such as the moon's movement around the Earth. This 3-week unit plan will help students gain scientific knowledge and skills about the solar system. The goals of this unit plan are for students to identify, compare, and contrast the planets in the solar system. There will be a specific emphasis on the atmosphere and terrain of the planet Mars. Students will also observe patterns in the sky pertaining to the Earth's movement around the Sun and the Moon's movement around the Earth. I chose this topic because the solar system is the focus of our annual open house. My 3rd grade team looks for new projects to incorporate into our solar system themed open house every year. I felt that this would be a great opportunity to design activities that emphasize the use of technology.
0, all engine running.
Get ready to blast off into this unit plan on the solar system by Katie Lucas for Education 522. This 3rd grade unit plan covers the content areas of science and language arts and math and music. It will also address Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences and include Bloom's taxonomy of learning domains. Students will identify and compare and contrast the planets in the solar system by creating a commercial and a travel brochure. Students will also create a PowerPoint presentation that identifies and evaluates the phases of the Moon. Students will observe and reenact patterns in the sky pertaining to Earth's movement around the Sun and the Moon's movement around the Earth. They will record this with digital photography and reenact it with a dance. Students will also explore and recognize the role of telescopes in the exploration of the solar system. Students will also design and advocate for a sustainable community on the planet Mars based on facts about the atmosphere and terrain. Students will engage in technologies that include computer and internet, TV, DVD player and projector, digital camera and iPad, e-textbook and e-textbook tools, Microsoft Word and PowerPoint, Interwrite Board and Google Earth. They will also engage in iPad apps like MindMeister, SolarWalk, Songify, and AudioBoo. Here are a few of the standards that will be covered in the unit plan. The following science standards will be covered. Like students know, telescopes magnify the appearance of distant objects, and that the sun's position changes from day to day and from season to season. A few reading and writing standards will be covered as well, like students will conduct short research projects and build knowledge about a topic. Many of the technology standards will be addressed as well, like students will use digital media and environments to communicate and work collaboratively, and students will use critical thinking to research and manage projects.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Let's take a look at some of the lessons that will be included. After exploring the characteristics of the 9 planets on the iPad app SolarWalk, students will choose one planet to compare and contrast with Earth. In groups, students will write a script for and film a commercial to advertise why tourists should visit their planet. This addresses the verbal, visual, interpersonal, and kinesthetic intelligences. Students will view images of Mars taken from the satellite or rover and evaluate the type of atmosphere and terrain. With groups, students will discuss and rationalize how to build a community that could sustain life on Mars. They will design this community on ArtSet. This activity addresses the verbal, visual, interpersonal, and intrapersonal intelligences. Students will explore the phases of the moon and use the InterWrite interactive whiteboard to match each phase with the corresponding name. Students will construct a model of each phase of the moon using a styrofoam ball and a lamp. Their partner will document each phase reenactment using a digital camera. Then, the students will create a dance to mimic the rotation of the Earth around the Sun and the Moon's rotation around the Earth. This activity addresses the visual, kinesthetic, and musical intelligences. Through this course, I have learned to further embrace each of my students' unique learning preferences. I feel that I have been given a new lens through which I see each student's multiple intelligence strengths. With my newly gained knowledge, I now intentionally plan activities that meet a wide variety of the intelligences. My range of knowledge about all the different technological resources available has increased significantly. Also, I have gained the ability to appropriately add those resources to my daily lesson plans, and I'm encouraged to take the time to do so. In just a few short weeks, I have already seen the positive impact on my students. Years from now, when I look back at my time spent in this course, I will remember all of the eager and engaged faces of my third grade students.